This Cheltenham, don't feel like a punter, feel like a favourite with a completely free £5 bet on the 120 on day 2 of Cheltenham. Paddy Power. Max one £5 free bet per customer per day. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome to the Road to Cheltenham Roundup for the first day of the Cheltenham Festival. How was it for you, Ruby?
I thought we had wonderful racing, Lydia, but I thought it was a very strange day, a very weird event to be at, to see so many great performances and there to be no outpouring of emotion or cheer or joy. Took a lot of getting used to. In fact, I didn't get used to it.
No, neither did I. And we've been accustomed to it for a long time now. And yet, particularly here, you do notice its absence, don't you?
Oh, you do. And you saw watching the Irish staff in the Irish village over there in the middle of the track doing their best to cheer on people when they won. But no, it was. And some of the performances, like to have Rachel Blackmore win the champion hurdle and Honeysuckle, the magnitude of it, an 11-10 or 11-10 favourite. Can you imagine the reception that we would have seen here? And to miss that, look, it was a spectacular performance. The racing, we had great racing, but just it lacked what Cheltenham always gives you.
It did. But let's focus on the good stuff, and let's focus on Honeysuckle, because that was absolutely superb. It was an immaculate run through. And you've been talking about it this season, but the way in which her jumping has improved, how much quicker she is. And she was just able to, Rachel Jackman was able to put her wherever she wanted, whenever she wanted.
Yeah, a strong gallop, and it was her jump at the second hurdle, actually, was the first time you noticed it. She had a real cut at the second, and it left her in a lovely position facing down the back. Abacadabra tipped up at the first down the back, not the first horse we've seen fall in there. And, you know, she popped one, I think it was the next hurdle, the fourth, but her jump at the second last, Aspire Tower slightly missed. She pinged it, and all of a sudden it was race over. It was just that quick.
And she pinged the last as well. I mean, quite often we've seen her be careful or stutter into the last, but I mean, she really has got that technique now. Yeah,
I think her jockey kept the revs up today. She's let her pop in the past, but there was a lot riding on this one, and she went down there like she wanted it to. And it was wonderful to watch. I must say, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I agree. A little bit of history. How good do you think she is in the pantheon of champion hurdle winners?
Well, she's been better this season than she was last season. I thought she was anyway. She beat Sharjah. Sharjah was second last year, so it puts her a bit ahead of maybe Epiton's performance last year. But it's in or around there. I don't know, how do you judge it? You know, she's just one hell of a racehorse, and but I must say, I think brilliantly trained as well. Like, she missed the Mayor's Novice, but Henry has brought her along slowly, stepped her up gradually all the time. He didn't overface her by running her last year's champion hurdle. She came here and won the Mayor's hurdle, and she's been a better mare for it this year. That's the art of training racehorses too, and Henry has done a wonderful, wonderful job with her.
And how about Epitons? She got herself in a few pockets that meant that she didn't have the clearest of sighting at her hurdles. Might it have made the difference between third and second?
Possibly, but Sharjah was behind her. I don't think so. I don't think the spark that was there last year, we didn't see it. No, I don't think so. She just didn't perform, for my money.
Sounders surface, maybe that didn't suit her so much.
Yeah, I know. Yet everyone seemed to think a Sounders surface would. I thought that was another thing through the day, Lydia. I'd say the ground dried incredibly.
Yeah. From
9 o'clock this morning until we watched Galvin win the last. It was incredible to try and what does it mean for the rest of the week?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, right from the word go, it was good to stop. Just before I leave the champion hurdle, Goshen, just unsteerable at one point, wasn't he?
Unrideable. That's what he was. There's obviously a quirk in him or a flaw in him, but today he was unrideable. I mean, Jimmy Moore at all his body weight and all bar putting two hands on the left rein, there wasn't much more he could do. He was just unrideable.
You mentioned the ground. We knew straight away from the performance, 3:57, Appreciate It put up to win the Sky Bet Supreme Hurdle. Actually, Honeysuckle was 3 seconds quicker than that as well, but Appreciate It was magnificent. I mean, he absolutely romped that victory in the first race.
He did, and the race really suited him. For pleasure, booked out and went, and it was like the Appreciate It we saw at Christmas. Not the one we saw at the Dublin Racing Festival. Getting a lead, pace, horse dragging him. He was just a much better horse. And what a future he has. Will he stay hurdling? Will he go chasing? I don't know. I know if I was still riding for Willie Mullins, I'd have been standing in the winners' enclosure telling him this is some certainty in the Arkle next year. That's the road I'd have been going.
I did pop that question to Willie, and he thinks of him as a novice chaser. So luckily, you won't have to have an argument over dinner. So you're both pointing in the same direction. How about Shishkin? How good was he in the Arkle?
He was, because that was a really thoroughly run race. Captain Guinness took on All Mankind, and they went really hard up front. Not sure Harry Skelton or Rachel Blackmore could do much about it. They were both being taken by the horses they were riding, and Shishkin kept covering them. Nico got involved going to the third last. It was a catch-22. Like, he knew he had them beaten. So do you sit behind them and wait till you turn in, or do you go by them and just kill them off? And that's what he did. That was the decision Nico made. I thought Harry Cobden gave Eldorado Allen a great right to be second. And you know, you don't ever get much credit for riding seconds, but that was a wonderful ride.
Yeah, it was very canny, wasn't it? He judged it absolutely right. We were thinking all season that it wasn't going to be a footpad like Arkle, and yet it did end up being that kind of race.
That's exactly what it turned into. But I think we were factoring in Energamine to our defence, not Captain Guinness being the one taking on All Mankind.
Yeah, that's true. Captain Guinness stepped in for Energamine there. Great story in the Ultima, wasn't it? Vintage Clouds, 5th attempt winning, and Ryan Mania, having come back from having retired.
Incredible. And just kept answering all the calls. And it was jumping. Ultimately, it was jumping that won for him. He never missed a beat. Got close, I think, to the last ditch, or maybe the one before it. But other than that, fence to fence, he jumped. Game as a lion. Sue Smith had him in incredible form. And he was brilliant. The runner-up, I don't think David Bass could have done anything different. I thought he gave that a lovely ride as well. Got him in a great position. Jumped every fence bar the last, but I don't think it was the difference between winning and losing.
I thought he made niggly mistakes, or just lacked fluency at critical times. Happy-go-lucky.
Possibly, but he was still only a novice. Only his 4th run over fences, and he hadn't run since the 11th of December. Maybe fitness told out in the end as well.
It's a fantastic performance, an important win for the North, I think. A second festival success for Sue Smith. Trevor Hemmings as well, who was scaling down his team at the start of the season. He's ended up having the Ladbrokes Trophy winner, and now this very significant success from Vintage Clouds.
I think he just called out the ones he didn't want, and he's kept the good ones.
Really, we could all learn to do that. Now, how about the Close Brothers Mares Hurdle? Fantastic finish, rather than these wide margin successes. Suddenly we had nip and tuck all the way to the line, and Black Tears just wore down Concertista. Yeah,
look, Roxana sat third, Concertista followed her, Black Tears followed Concertista. Like a relay race, one following the other. Harry picked it up down the hill. Paul Townend covered that manoeuvre. Looked like he'd win off the bend when he went by Harry Skelton and Roxana, and then Black Tears came from behind her and just wore her down to win on the line. First leg of a double for Jack Kennedy. And I must say, if there was a riding performance, it was him on Galvin in the last. I thought that was pretty cool to watch.
Go on, why?
He just mooched away down the inside, was never in a hurry. He could have been riding a wet Thursday somewhere. Never panicked, he come around one horse, maybe two. Went for a gap at the back of the second last on the inside, produced him to lead at the last next destination rally, couldn't get back to him. I just thought that was pretty cool to watch.
He is so laid back, he's almost horizontal, Jack Kennedy. I always think. But it was a very different kind of race than what we usually treated to for the National Hunt Chase. Obviously, sadly, we didn't have the amateurs, and it looked like it was steadily run this time around.
It was. Tom Scudamore made the running and remastered. Plenty of horses in with chances, but the right 3 went to the last. Galvin, Descaria 10, and Next Destination.
Yeah. The one race we haven't mentioned was the 80-1 success of Jeff Kidder for Noel Mead and Sean Flanagan. An important first festival success for Sean.
Yeah, and look, to our defence, Lydia, we're recording this, having not watched the replay. I can't remember where he came from. I don't know how far back he was in the race. I know Saint Sam was right back. I'm not sure where the winner was, but a first success for Sean Flanagan. Flew himself over and rode a winner.
Did he?
Yeah, he flew himself over. It was his last flight with his instructor to get his licence, so he passed the test, got his pilot licence, and rode his first Cheltenham winner.
Really? Yeah. Absolutely amazing. I wish I'd have known that earlier. I'd have asked him more about him. And no wonder he's flying,
Literally.
Yeah, partner 80-1 wins that. It was a sign, clearly. Well, that was the first day. There are 3 more to go. Thanks for your thoughts. Have a good evening. I look forward to catching up with you tomorrow.
That'll do. Mind yourself.